Hello, my name is Beth McDonald Stone. I'm an avid knitter and knitwear designer coming to you from Bermuda, and I'm back home again. Last episode I recorded while traveling with my son to Japan, and it was fantastic. And now we're home, and I've recovered from jet lag. Sorry, my voice is still croaky. I guess I haven't used it enough today. But yeah, no, jet lag is real, especially with the 12-hour time difference. So yeah, anyways, I still want to go to bed at like 7 at night and I want to wake up at 3 in the morning. But that could also just be my menopausal or perimenopausal rhythm. So who knows? Anyway, so glad to be back. Glad to be catching up with you. I've worked on a few things, finished a few things, and I have a new pattern releasing now. So let's catch up on that and grab your knitting. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather of summer. I know that there's a major heat wave happening in the US on the eastern seaboard, and it's warm here, but sorry, my voice has been really croaky. It's warm here, but it's summer. It's always warm here. So I've got the doors closed. Luna's right beside me here on her bed. Not very pleased. She hates the doors closed because she can't come and go as she pleases, but needs must. I think she'd prefer to be cool. Anyways, she's gonna have us news. Anyway, so that's everything. Let's get going with the knitting. So, featured pattern. Get out of the pool tee, fingering weight. It's the second version of this design. The first version was a DK weight, which I knit last summer when in New York on my summer vacation. Then I thought it'd be really good to have a fingering weight option too. And so I've come up with this. So there's two different patterns out for whatever yarn appeals to you most. The concept of this and the name, which was so cleverly given to me by a lovely viewer, thank you so much, it's about hand-dyed yarn. And basically, the original one that I knit last summer, I saw this fabulous hand-dyed DK weight cotton mix yarn, and the yarn store was Downtown Yarns in New York City in the East Village. And they had a sample hanging up, and I loved the sample. It was a little baby sweater, I believe, but it was so obvious where the different widths of the knitted garment changed, the pooling changed dramatically, and so it was really hard to actually see the garment because the pooling took center stage. And while I think that's really cool, and I have some sweaters and designs that like are meant to enhance that, I know I played with that with one of the Burmese Basics, or two of the Burmese Basics. I had a lot of fun with it. It was like zigzagging and really cool, like a highlighter yellow color. I think it was Electric Light Orchestra Yellow by amazing, anyways, Dyer from Germany. Yeah, while I think that's amazing, it's also nice to try to make it a little bit more regular. Again, just controlling what you want with your yarn. And so what I decided was if all the widths in the garment are basically the equal width so that your rounds or your rows were the same, then the pooling should, if dyed in the same batch, again, that's kind of key, and who knows really, but, and I don't mean like in the same day, I mean in the same pot, but a lot of these things are out of our control. But the concept is if the skeins are dyed in the same way with basically the colors placed in the same position on the yarn, then the pooling, if everything is knit in the same width, will be more uniform. And therefore, you'll be able to see the tee and not just the pooling stripes. So that's what I came up with. So basically this is a design that is knit flat with a bit of seaming, but basically it's a drop shoulder sweater or t-shirt. So knit top down and then another panel top down, back front, really doesn't matter which one you do first. Seamed at the shoulders, and then the sleeves knit, and they're the same width as your body, just in a round. So again, to keep the pooling kind of consistent. I think it's great. I think it's really cool. It's really simple. There's a few more stitches on the front so that the front neckline comes down a bit, a few less stitches on the back, but like, you know, nothing much that would change the yarn itself. You know, very minimal stitch differences, and yeah, it's really great. I love it. I like the bigger sleeves, keeps the ventilation going on these hot and humid days, and yeah, I think it looks great. Here, I'll stand up and step behind. So yeah, I think it's just a great, cool, simple t-shirt. If that's a good view, so you can see the construction, like you can see the shape. And actually, keep this image in mind, because what I want to talk about is drop sleeve shirts or tees or tanks or whatever, and how I know they're all listed as like, you know, X many inches from your bust, you know, positive ease for your bust circumference. And I think that's actually kind of the wrong way, even though I've got that included in my instructions, but that's kind of how Ravelry is set up and how we're trained to sort of think. But I really think drop sleeve shoulders, the only way they work is if the seams are starting halfway down your arm. It's the only way they work. So if you have a very full bust and a very narrow shoulders, or very broad shoulders and a very small bust, or anything in between, I think the better way to actually measure for what you want in the chest circumference or in the basic width for a drop sleeve sweater, which has to be, you know, pretty boxy, is not to go by your bust, but it's to go by like halfway down your arm to halfway down the arm. Now, it's not the easiest to do yourself. I've got this tape measure, care of Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco, New York. Anyways, it's a great tape measure. So, you know, I put my finger on the 0 and I try and see what it is from like halfway down my arm to halfway down my arm. So I'm totally, it's easier with a friend. But let's just see, what is that? So that's like 27.5 inches. So in theory, that should be, you know, times that by 2. I usually do 24 inches, because I think when I do it with friend, or with someone, that's actually, you know, halfway down this. This is around a 48 or a 50 inch. I can't remember what size I knit. It's all in the pattern pages. But basically, I think when I measure it with help, it's 24 inches, like halfway down here, across, halfway down here. And that's what works for a drop sleeve sweater, tee, shirt, whatever. Not your bust plus 5 or 8 inches, because I don't think that's quite right. I think it's more about where the side seams, you know, lay relative to your arm length. You know, basically a third or halfway almost of your bicep. So I guess that's more like a third of my bicep there. That's what you want. Because if it's too short, and I did this in the last, you can't really tell, but if it's too short, it's not going to sit nicely for a drop sleeve shirt. Drop sleeve shirts have to come over your shoulder to function. I hope that makes sense. And I'm so tempted almost to see if I could try to find a way that we could sort of more uniformly show the measurements or the suggested measurements for these drop sleeve patterns, but it's kind of reinventing the wheel, Ravelry as it is. And so, you know what? I'm just going to keep talking about it. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So get out of the pool tee. It's a drop sleeve. Measure third of your bicep to a third of your other bicep, and that should be your garment width, you know, times 2, because of course it'd be a circle. And that's what I would recommend. And don't worry about, I mean, if you are very busty and you need more than that, then maybe go like halfway down your bicep. But basically that's a better rule than your bust circumference plus ease, because shoulders are also really important where it falls into place too. Hope that helps. So get out of the pattern. Oh, I never told you what yarn I'm using here. This is Bien Aimee. I love Bien Aimee, and you'll see that in my acquisitions in Japan. I had to go to Japan to buy some French yarn, but whatever. I live on an island. I pick it up when I see it. But yeah, so Bien Aimee in the Twist Nouveau color Pop Grunge, and I just think it's so lovely. Ironically, in hindsight, my DK version, which is not done in Bien Aimee, but it's very much a similar palette. So, you know, clearly I like this kind of pink, purple, gray, yellow. It's a good neutral for me. Anyways, so as with every time I publish a pattern, there'll be 20% off for the first week. No coupon required, so that'll be 20% off until Friday, the 4th of July, midnight that night. Easy to remember. It's kind of a key date for Americans, but also for me, because that's when my son was born. Oliver was born 4th of July. Anyways, and his name is Oliver Stone, which we didn't realize at the time. So we have Oliver Stone born on the 4th of July. So I should have no problem remembering when my son's birthday is. Anyways, so hope you love it. Get out of the pool tea, and that is the featured pattern. So finished objects, ta-da! This is another sort of, I'm really on the boxy dropped shoulder kick, drop sleeve. Now I'm confusing myself. Drop shoulder, sorry. I can invert those two thoughts. So this is the DK version of the mango tee, which I've shown before, and there's been a huge amount of interest in. Thank you so much. So this is the DK version, and I did it as a sweater, so it's going to be called the mango sweater. And so basically, when the mango tee had sort of a 3-inch little cuff here, this just has a much longer sleeve, so that it's got really form-fitted sleeves with a really lovely boxy shaped body. I haven't blocked this yet. It's on my to-do list to do today, so I can then photograph and go from there with the test call and stuff like that. But I'm really excited about this. If you were with me 2 episodes ago, episode 40, I was finishing up the body with this amazing color yarn from Wandering Flock. This is the Wandering Flock Merino DK color highlighter. And I think it's so cool. And you'll see I've got a running theme right now. I'm really interested in these sort of neutral yarns with pops of like neon in them. I think it's so much fun. And it's sort of, while I love neon and I have no problem knitting with neon itself, but I think this is so groovy because it's kind of like the sophisticated, where's the neon, where's it going? And I can put it with so many outfits. So if you remember 2 episodes ago, I didn't know what to do for the contrast. And I really wanted to have a little edging at the hem and the cuffs and to have the turtleneck as something sort of different. And I had like a purple, a blue, an orange, basically all the colors in this sort of highlighter flex. I had, the highlighter color itself. And what I decided, and with a lot of great help from input from everyone else, and I think it was almost fairly unanimous, although there was wide interest in all sorts, but a pretty unanimous for this Citrine color, also by Wandering Flock. And I had it left over from another design I had knit called the Deep Dean. Anyways, so that worked out really well. I really rushed to finish this before I go away because I don't like to leave, especially a design, unfinished and then sort of like 2-week separation, because things get really foggy and hazy, and especially with a design, especially with the design, I really, really want to kind of follow through a thought consistently rather than cut and break it. It just helps my brain and keeps it clear. So crammed it, got it done, put it on my desk, and so now I'm back and, refreshed and feeling human again and getting back into the rhythm of, life at home. I need to block it and photograph it. But yeah, so the test call will be coming out for that in the next few days. But I'm really excited about that. And I'm hoping to have this released probably closer to the end of the summer, or at the end of the summer, really, how it's going. It's amazing. Time flies. I can't believe we're almost into July. So that is the mango sweater. And that's my finished objects. So basically, what am I working on? I also wanted to finish that because I know I have 2 commissions coming up for yarn companies, and I'm really excited about them. And I knew that the yarn should be coming, and one would definitely be meeting me here in Bermuda when I got back. And that is this, which I've started. I'll just put it on over top. And this fabulous yarn, which again is a neutral with neon pops, my current fave. Is a yarn from Botanical Yarns. I hope you guys are all following her. Know Sophie from the UK. Her yarn, here, I'll pull this closer. Is that better? The back hasn't been knit down very far, so it's sort of flaring up. So it overlooked, don't mind that. It will once I add the weight, because of course I've separated here for the sleeve openings. So this fabulous yarn is here. Whoops, I'm going to tip over everything in front of me. This fabulous yarn is from Botanical Yarns. It is her, I'm into DK right now, Merino DK Superwash and Neon Nepps. Isn't it so cool? So I have designed a V-neck sweater, and I want it to be a pretty big V with a chunky border, so it's going to come in quite a bit. Like it'll come in, here on the sides and the front here a bit, and the back, which you can't see. And it's going to be sort of a full sweater with a really cool colorwork pattern down here to sort of a modern version or a Scandi version of botanical motif down here. So, but in the Botanical Yarns colors. So it's going to have these colors in the color work at the bottom, or how should I put this? Maybe like that. So down here in the midsection. I'm really excited about it. It's going to have sort of wide sleeves. I'm thinking 3/4. I'm thinking sort of wide and with maybe a little bit of cinching around sort of here. We'll see how we go when everything else takes place and decide on what proportion it will work for that. And I'm really excited. So I'm working kind of, not furiously, I'm working on it in bits because especially with working the neckline, like it's really good for me to knit a little bit and then run down to my computer downstairs, write what I've done, and come back and knit a bit more. So right now I'm kind of like in an easy breathing space where I'm going to knit the front and the back. And I kind of want to start the collar just to make sure before I get too committed that I'm in the right way. But I've been on the ledge back and forth about the shaping for the collar for the V, and I'm actually pretty excited about it now. It's hard in my mind to visualize, and I have to really remember that it's going to have like an inch or 2 inches. I want it more chunky of a ribbing. I should look at it while I'm doing it. Ribbing down here with the central double decreases here. So it'll kind of cinch in. I did want it to be not too short in the front because I don't love it. For this design, I didn't want to have like the V-neck up here. So I really wanted to make sure that it came down so that when this comes up here, it's still modest, but it's not like a V-neck that's really tight on the neck. I love that look. I just didn't want that for this. So I'm working on that. I want to get a lot accomplished as soon as possible because this is for, and look at, Sophie sent me one of her lovely little, I think she calls them her lunch bags. And it's so charming. And I've always actually eyed them, so I don't know how she knew to send me one. It was such a lovely gift. Thank you so much, Sophie. And I love, love, love her yarn. So this design is going to come out right before, I always get this name confused. I've been into it every year, but for some reason I just cannot remember the name. A Woolen Affair, which is the pre-Rhinebeck event hosted by Catherine of Brooklyn General. So this will be coming out before that for Sophie's booth for her, sort of a sample for her. Hopefully I'm sure she'll have kits for it together. So I'm really excited with that, working really hard. The yarn is dreamy and it just knits up so beautifully, and it's such a good neutral. And it has just amount of interest that I would like in a neutral. Really lovely. Oh, the color of this is called, I think she's really quite known for this color. And this color neutral is, where's my notes here? I write everything down so that I can read it here, but it's all down below for you too. So look in the description below, and everything is listed below so that you don't have to worry about it. And if I forget something, it's probably there. Look there first. So this neutral color that she dyes is fabulous, and it's called Pampas Grass. And it truly is. It's a great, great, great neutral. The other colors, this is another kind of color that she works with a lot called Monarda. And look at the intensity of like the light on the side of that. Isn't that just so exciting? And then Neon Purple, and I love it. It's very layered. She's definitely got, you know, I can see blue behind it and some pinks coming up at the top. Like it's a very, very, very layered color. And then the green, like I showed you before. So neon green, neon purple, and neon yellow. Where is it slipped down? I only needed a small bit of this just for the highlights in the center of the motif. So it's sort of a modern Scandi motif, a spin on a classic botanical for sweater design. So sort of Scandi sweater, like the Scandi rose concept, but modern, fun. Really excited with that, working really hard on that, and I'd like to go again mid-July for our summer break, and I'd like to have this pretty well knit, if not entirely knit, before that and written up so that I can get it tech edited and keep that going. So that's really exciting. So that is Botanical Yarns. And what else am I knitting on? This morning I finished the heel turn for the second Humlebi socks, toe-up socks, and I actually finished one when I was in Japan at that amazing spa, Ryokan. I just loved sitting in my room. It was really misty outside. We had a storm one morning, and I finished this sock. And, you know, I do have sock blockers, and today's not the day. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to get the sock blocker if I can find. I know where it is. Right back. Hi, back with you. I have sock blockers. I always forget to use them. But yeah, this is the Humlebi socks, toe-up design by Fibertails, and Fleegle heel, and the cutest little sort of bumblebee lace motif up above. And it's really like the lace here and here, the sort of the flower sections are really easy. The little bumblebees are adorable, and literally you just hold some stitches forward, work a round or two, and then pull them across, and it's amazing. It's amazing how simple it is, but how it works out so well. So yeah, so there's one sock done. I just have basically the from here up to do, which when I did this one, that happened really quickly because it was just so engaging. Like, you get, oh, I just want to get to the lace, and oh, you know how it goes. That expression, potato chippy. It is very potato chippy. The yarn here is one of my favorite yarns. You can see I really don't. They're on my tongue, which is why I have to write a note. Magpie Fibers Swanky Sock, one of my favorite yarns for socks. It is just such a lovely plump yarn. Feels so good in my hands as I'm knitting. And yeah, love it, love it, love it. So there you can see I still have to. So in my ends, I do 64 rounds for the foot. I took the first one off to use on the second sock this morning when I was knitting. This marks where I finished the decreases for the Fleegle heel, and then it gives me an easy marking point to figure out how many rows to knit up before the lace ends, and then I can count very easily how many rows before the cuff and then the cuff. So I find these little sort of light bulb stitch marker helping really helps, because as much as I think I'm going to remember, I really don't. Like, honestly, I don't. So I'm not going to fool myself that I do. Anyways, I'm really excited with that. That is coming along, and I should probably finish that because it's just such a dream to knit. I knit on 2.25 stitch needles, and I vacillate between going in the round on a magic loop or on shorties. I find if my hands are hot and sweaty, I need to just have the really small 9-inch. And so in my bag, I have that option as well. So I have these there, 9-inch high sharps. And I also have the long, I like 42-inch long needles. I like the child goo. And for socks, I quite like the fixed, because then there's no possibility of a join being felt. I find at this gauge and this size of yarn, I should have brought the larger sock blockers up, but anyways, there you go. And I think they fit. I don't even know if I've tried this on. Sock knitting for me, and I know I say this often, I live in Bermuda. I don't really wear socks that much. I wear them when I travel, but I find them such a joy to knit. I don't give them as gifts because I find a lot of people, it's more of a burden because it's all sort of hand wash. So it's just something I really like to do. And I do wear them occasionally when I travel. And that's nice. And it's a really pretty drawer full of really pretty socks. So whatever. I'm a knitter. You know, how many sweaters do we all need, really, right? We're knitters. You don't ask, you don't tell. You just enjoy the craft. And I do so much. So yeah, so that's that sock. The other socks that I'm working on, which I've talked to you before about, are the Kind of Magic socks. I did this one. I still have to put in the heel I think I finished it on the flight to Japan or before or whatever. And then on our last train ride, the Shinkansen, I started this and have knit this. This is great. I'm just almost keeping this for like doctor's appointments. I went and had a pedicure yesterday and I took that. It's just because it's around and around, I don't have to worry about it. And I'm just trying to make space that I have quite a bit. Oh, and a cute bag. I bought this in Japan. A friend of mine had sent me, when I went, a picture of these beautiful birds. I can't remember what they're called, but they're special for Japan. And ironically, like, I received her email, and then that day I saw this bag and I thought, oh, that's so cute. And it was literally $1.50. So what a fun little memento souvenir, and that bag. So yes, so what else am I working on? Is there anything else? Yeah, so the socks that I just flashed, those are the Kind of Magic socks. It's self-patterning, and I talked about it before. It's really important to find the gauge to get the pattern just right. It's a cool sock. I'm still waiting to finish them and to wash them and see if I need to felt them a little bit. But stay tuned. I'll keep you updated on that. There's Luna's back to bed. Yeah, so, what I passed by, sorry. In this bag that is so cute with these birds on it is the NightShift shawl. And I am really, 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 really enjoying this. I wanted bright colors. I picked quite unique color, like unique as in they're related but not closely to each color, which I have learned creates a lot of big stripes. I don't mind that. I think it's kind of cool. And yeah, I think also if I were to do this pattern again, you can see now I'm winging it and I'm making it too regular. So I think I need to do something. That's what's so interesting to see it from the camera versus just looking at it. Isn't that interesting? There's some more irregular shapes in here. Anyways, so what I'm doing is, if I were to do this again, I'd be curious to try it with closer colors from Spincycle, and it would be less stripy. I like both. I think it's going to be kind of cool for the winter because having just all those colors around with the black winter coat, how amazing. I am using Spincycle dyed in the wool, which is the sport weight version of the yarn, and the pattern calls for the DK worsted weight, which is called Dream State. I just didn't have that much of Dreams. I think I have 1 or 2 skeins, definitely not enough for the shawl, which I believe required 5 or 6, but I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, it must have been 6 because I had just used 6 of these. And I'm just keep on knitting. I'm continuing with the sequences and just matching different colors. All the colors are listed below. I don't really want to pull them all out of the bag because they're all in little Ziploc bags to keep them separated and keep them identified. But basically, I'm just going to keep on going until I run out of yarn. And so it's going to be a lot longer than, it's not going to be longer than the pattern because of the bigger gauge. It's going to probably be the same size, but I'm just knitting a lot more color repeats. I have put it on a 60-inch cord, which I'm kind of using as a guide for the finished width because the finished width is around 60 inches, I believe, on Andrea's pattern. So that also helps sort of give me a target because, of course, I think with shawls, there's a nice window on having a really good size that you can really wrap around yourself and make it really function. So yeah, isn't it fun? Like I think when you really scrunch it up, like all those colors, how cool. yeah, all the colors listed below. And, you know, like with Spincycle, even if everyone used the same color, it would never look the same just because of how the yarn's spun. And I think that's really cool. So I'm loving, loving, loving working on that. I can't believe that it's my first shifty pattern, and I can see why people love knitting it. So that, I believe, is it on what I've finished knitting, published patterns, what I'm working on, that. So what else I'd like to talk about today is I made some purchases. I went to 2 yarn stores. Well, I went to both stores of Walnut. So I went to Walnut Kyoto first and then Walnut Tokyo second. Walnut is this shop for Amarisu. I don't know if you follow them or read their books. I love their books. I used to get all of their magazines. I think they've stopped the magazines, but they've continued to bring out books. So when I went, I literally knew I had a book list to pick up, and I had an idea on colors that I was really missing from my collection. So I bought a few things. So I don't do a lot of showing you yarn shopping. I'm a little private about that. I don't know. I like seeing what other people buy, but for some reason I don't usually love showing what I've bought. But anyways, but I will today because I do think that it is great to travel and to pick up some neat things and to show you what's out there. So I did most of my yarn shopping. I did most of my shopping actually in the Kyoto store. I got there just before they closed. I kind of raced over. We had a pretty full itinerary, so I didn't, so I just kind of raced over in a taxi and then walked back to the hotel from there. And so purchases made kind of quickly, but I'm not sad about it because usually I overthink things. I did want to get some of the Amarisu hand-dyed yarn because it's really beautiful. So this is the Trek handmade, the Trek hand-dyed, sorry. And it's like, look at those colors. And when I left, I actually really realized I really didn't have any good turquoise in my stash. And so that was kind of turquoise and bright yellowy pink. So the 2 that I bought from Amariso really fill that. So this is sort of for my shawl knitting stash or, just pops of color. I don't know what the colorway is here. It might have a colorway on it. That might be it in Japanese, sorry. But it might not. Anyways, I thought that was really stunning. And this is just a 100% merino wool. So not socks, I don't think, although I think they had socks. It's a nice tight twist, but I think my toenails would go right through it. Oh, look at this label. It's so cute. There's a little house that hooks it. Huh, clever. Anyways, so I see this as maybe more garment or shawl. I bought one of those. And then I bought this colorway in the Trek too. I thought that was really beautiful. They could totally go together. Isn't that so fresh and fun? Maybe that'd be great if I could figure something out to go those 2 together. Bien Aimee, I bought Fujimoto and the Twist Nouveau. I just thought this was stunning. And it seemed to be about, oh, sorry. No, it's good. Sorry, I thought I had disabled that. Anyways, this is good. It's not bad at all. So this is Twist Nouveau from Bien Aimee. And Bien Aimee, they just do such amazing colors. Can't help it. Hope you watch their podcast too. I love their podcast. I think it's Wednesday mornings. It's pretty live. I don't watch it live. But there's always great information and great garment inspiration and color inspiration. The other one that I bought was Merino Singles, Matin d'Hiver, so the winter morning. And I just, again, loved all those colors together. Definitely in that family. And turquoise, bright turquoise is becoming very popular for me right now. It's something that I really crave. That, and then I pick up Spincycle when it excites me, and I have to say, because Spincycle really is about mixing colors, and some I really am not excited about, but some I am, and so that's when I think you have to purchase it, and you have to purchase it in person because you order it online. You know, just the way that the colors are put together could be so different. It could be look like a totally different yarn. So my rule is when I see Spincycle, I budget permitting, I pick it up. This I really liked. They only had 2, and it was called Valley Girl. And I love that, even though I'm trying to pick up more of the Dream State because I don't have any, but it's great to have on hand. Their yarns to play with. They're just so much fun. So that was the yarn I purchased. And then I purchased, so like I said, when I went, I knew I had a book list, and they were at the Kyoto store. They were right there when I walked in. So this was really quick and easy. This was my #1 wish list purchase, Metaphysics. I've seen this being promoted. I didn't see there's an insert. I haven't really had a chance to go through them, but I saw this other podcasters, I'll just put this aside, talk about this before, and I knew it was really fun and modern and something I'd really like. Like, love that vest with the side ties. It's kind of like the Scandi side ties, but it's a bit more sort of modern with a contrasting bow, interesting collar and shoulder construction. I love simplicity. This is one that I remember being shown before and loving it. So it's like a sweater, a sort of classic sweater with a lace cable design here, and then a little sort of peplum that comes out from the underarms and the back. That's called Syn, S-Y-N. Yeah, I just thought this is a really cool, groovy, you know, I love purple, I love texture, very awesome. Great detail on this sweater with some ribbing that goes up on the underside, on the sides, up towards the underarm, just for a little interest. Yeah, so that was on my list, like #1. That's what I really wanted to bring back from Walnut. And then I just saw these other these other books that I had seen online, but I wanted to look through them and they appealed. So the Sock Knitting Club. These are all Emery Sew books. And so, yeah, so there's just a lot of fun socks, and I am here for it because I love knitting socks. So yeah, I'm not going to put through much more of the book, but you know, so beautiful. Yeah, so Sock Knitting Club, I can't wait to look at this more and try a few of the patterns. And then the third book was Garden Knits of Tomorrow. So this is the cover, sorry. And yeah, like, I love simple shaped garments. I like modern simple shapes, but I love some feminine details. I hold that. So that to me looks like a simple drop sleeve construction with lace on the back, which is unique, and sort of a fluttery sleeve. Great inspiration. Oh, look at this. Another cool drop sleeve top, but all about texture. So knitting in welts in the front and doing some basic color work around. Really cool. So yeah, I love, love, love Japanese. Like, look at this shawl. It's just so elegant. Sorry, let's try and, yeah, black. Looks like some really interesting lace motif and some textures. Very elegant. Yeah. I love Japanese design. When I was there, this shawl, sorry, get that. Look at that. It just looks like a woven fabric with textures and I don't know. A lovely matte hand. Oh, and it's a mixture of brioche. Yeah, it's a mixture of brioche. Either moving brioche for the this side here, so that you've got the brioche kind of coming in a diamond shape in and out, and then more straight up brioche, I believe, on this side with baubles. At least that's what it looks like for me. And then playing with the dominant and non-dominant yarn. That would be my guess. And then, yeah, I mean, again, so simple, but isn't that so cool? That vest with the sort of threads, probably I-cord, coming through. Yeah, so this is the stuff that gets me really excited. And I'll be honest, people watching in Japan, the ladies were so stylish. One day, Oliver and I walked to a museum in the sort of mountains outside of Tokyo, like an hour and a half outside of Tokyo, where we were staying at that spa. And we sat in the cafe just because it was really drizzly and rainy. We weren't in a rush to go anywhere, and people watching is really fun. And looking at the fashions of the elegant ladies, and nothing was over the top. It was more about really interesting color pairings, really simple outfits, really simple but really elegant, you know, details, whether it's glasses, jewelry, handbag. Most shoes were running shoes, but they just paired so well with the outfit. And I'm saying these were ladies of all ages, and it was just so inspiring. So simplicity, intentionality, unique colors, pared down, loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Very inspiring. I also picked up some fun things at Walnut. So, you know, a really cute, squeaking, holder for stitch markers. There's some light bulb markers in them, which is great because I use those a ton. I have a pin board in my office, so of course I got this. I didn't think to get one in Tokyo. That's okay. They had some stitch markers, set of 5. Haven't opened it yet, but I can see one is like a, let's open it now. But I can see one is a yarn scheme. So this says stitch markers, set of 5, Amriso 10th anniversary. And so, they're super cute. So skein of yarn. Oh, it's going backwards. And another sort of what they call like the peanutty kind of one. Oh, so cute. Oh, the little snips, which is ironic because I bought little snips too. A yarn ball and a button. Adorable. Great. I can't wait to put that in my little container. Yeah, I bought little pink snips. Isn't that funny? So yeah, these are the Kohana snips that were like all the rage a couple years ago. I never bought them then, but it's a Japanese brand, and I've always thought they were charming, and I'd love to have them in my little bag of goodies. So that was really fun. And then I find these needle minders or whatever, or needle stoppers or whatever, really helpful. So they had tulip ones that are tulips, and I've always liked tulips as the shape. Tulip is the brand, but anyway, so I bought a small needlehead shape and the larger size too, so they'll fit, you know, be good for all of my projects. So yeah, so that was sort of out of 2 yarn shop visits, that's what I did. The damage, it was fun, it was good. I can't wait to use it. It's all very inspiring. It's like paint for a paint box, you know, for an artist. The one other thing I wanted to show you before I sign off is, like I said, I'm doing the design from Botanical Yarns. There's their lovely logo. I think they've got a couple logos, but that's Botanical Yarns. Do follow them on Instagram, and Sophie does a really lovely podcast too, which I really look forward to. She's full of energy and good ideas and design ideas and knitting pattern ideas and colors, and amazing. So we had sort of maybe talked about doing a collab, I can't remember, but she showed this yarn. So again, still in my phase of neutrals with neon, and this is a Surrey. This is a Surrey yarn with little Neon Nepps in it too, and I loved it. So I ordered this when I knew she was sending me the yarn to come for the design. I ordered this, love it. Yep. So I think this has got the wrong label on it, but it's a Surrey with Neon Nepps, and it's, I think, fingering weight, because it's around 400 yards or meters for 100 grams. And then she had another book that I was really keen on. This is from Lina magazine, but it's another Japanese designer, Miki Teragaki. So I can't read on the side, but there you go. And again, really cool. Because I've just come back, I haven't really had a chance to flip through everything, but you know, very cool, modern, simple lines, everything I like. Really amazing flutter sleeve top. And I've done a whole series of that sort of shape, but I've never thought to do such a big sleeve. I'm really inspired by that. This book is lovely. I think the seam is stitched because it opens so perfectly. Let's see. Oh, little fun cuffs that can peek out of just sweatshirts or other shirts. How adorable. I've actually collected from, there's a fashion company that I really like that makes undershirts with really pretty cuffs. And I have a few of those which are great to go under my sweaters in the winter. Yeah. Cool mittens. Yeah, but Miki Teragaki is a really inspiring designer for me. Like this sort of feather and fan concept never gets old for me. And I'm itching to do sort of a mango tee with a feather and fan. So cool. And I know there's a million patterns out there with that. Don't really care. I think there's a lot of room for more. It's just it's an old pattern, but it really holds its, it stays really true. It's really good. It never goes out. And when you play with color, it's so good. You know, just think of Missoni, the Missoni knits from Italy back, especially back in the 60s and 60s to modern times now, but in the 60s it was so good. When I was a kid, and up until I was thinking about 20, there was a store in Bermuda called Cecile's, and it was so fantastic because it was owned by a lady named Lady Pierman, and she's just passed. I think she was almost 100 when she passed. But so when 40 years ago was probably when the store was at its height. And she had Pucci, Missoni. Those are the two that I remember really really to me talk about. Bermuda Cecile's 40 years ago would be what? The early 80s. It was so good. It was such a good store. And it was so perfect for Bermuda at the time. The colors, the vibrancy, the cool lines, the lovely ladies, and just really, really fun. Lily Pulitzer a bit. That was also, yeah, old Lily Pulitzer too, she had. So again, that kind of cool 60s, 70s that even looked amazing into the 80s, especially for somewhere like Bermuda where pink and green is always de rigueur. Look at that. It's a cool kind of like coverlet skirt. Love that idea. Love, love, love. So yeah, so lots of inspiration, what we saw on the trip and what we did on the trip, and then what books I brought back from the trip and yarn. So a lot of fun. So I think I'm going to leave you there. I have no idea how long this is. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully it's not too rambly. Hopefully it's inspiring and I've kept you entertained a bit while you've knit a ton. And I'll leave you with, I just took some video this morning. It was a really beautiful morning. There's not much air, like not much of a breeze. So I went to the top of a really beautiful hill, or I should say I went to the top of a very tall hill with a beautiful view of the Great Sound and took a video there and then just enjoyed the plants when I was walking down. When I've come back to Bermuda from our trip, everything is, the early summer trees are bursting. So bougainvillea, all the colors, frangipani, and poinciana. Beautiful big orange poinciana trees. So lovely. We used to have a couple, but the hurricanes took them out. Anyways, but yeah, so that's really lovely to see. I didn't get a picture or video of a poinciana, so I hope I can get one in and stick it in at the end. If I don't, I'll make sure to do it for the next visit with you. And the next visit will be in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, I can't remember what that will be. Oh yeah, in 2 weeks, that will be when the mango tea, which I think is going to be July 11th, when the mango tea fingering weight will be published. So I know a lot of people are looking out for that. So just keep that in your mind. July 11th, mango tea, and the next episode when we can chat and catch up again. So I hope that finds you all well, and happy knitting, and see you in 2 weeks. Okay, bye.